Hello students, welcome to Pathak's Computer Academy online classes. In the previous video, we learned about if-else statements in Python. Today we will see loops in Python. Okay, so the contents we covered today are the introduction to loops, why looping concept are there in programming language, and after that we will see what are the various types of looping are used in Python. So moving to the introduction, there may be a situation when you need to execute a block of code several number of times. For example, if you want to enter a student record, whatever they are in the school. So in the school, there are a lot of students, and these student informations are various like name, roll number, guardian's name, and many. But for each student, you have to do the same task. So if there are 1000 students, you have to write 1000 line of instructions. So it is very tedious task. If there are an inventory store, there are lakhs of products available and you have to maintain the record, then thus a new functionality, a new concept arrives, that is looping statement, where group of statements are kept in a single block and this block are repeated various times according to the requirement. Clear? So here you can see the pictorial representation of looping statement. The control comes here. Condition is checked, and if condition is correct, then the same task is to be executed again and move to the particular condition to be checked again. Again, the condition is true, then the same conditional block is executed once more, and so on till the condition is false. In Python, there are basically three types of looping: while loop, for loop, and nested loop. Now start with the for loop. There is some difference between other language for loop and in Python loop. Okay. The for loop in Python is used to iterate over a sequence. This is to be remembered. Whenever there is for loop, there should be a iterative sequence. Either it can be a string, it can be a tuple, it can be a list, or anything that is iteratable objects. Okay. Iterating over a sequence is called traversing. Clear? If you want to traverse the list like an array, then this is known as traversal. and we need in for statement. That's why sequence is present there. So the syntax is very simple, look like a for each in Java. Okay, but again, there is a little bit difference. So the syntax is for whatever the variable you will take, again a keyword in, and then any sequence. And if till the element is present in the sequence, the loop will or loop body will execute it. If there is 5 items in sequence, then 5 times the loop body will execute it. Here is the example. There is a list. There are 4 elements, 2, 3, 5, 7. Now I have taken the for loop. V is the variable and sequence is li. And I am simply printing that element. That's all. So this body of the for loop will execute it 4 times. Why? Because time to time, first value is given to the variable v, then 2 is printed. 3 value is given to the v, again v is printed, and so on up to 7. This is the pictorial representation, or you can see that the flowchart of the for. For each item in sequence, it will check whether the last item is reached. If no, then body of for loop will execute it. If yes, then exit. Simple. That's it. If last item is reached, then you have to stop. Else in for loop, the same functionality that are discussed in where I will discuss in while loop also. But in the Python, there is a new functionality is added, that is you can insert else part against the for loop too. A for loop can have an optional else block as well. The else part is executed if the items in the sequence used in for loop exhausted. Whenever we reach to the last element of the sequence, after only the else part will execute it. If there is some break statement are included, I will discuss in the next video the control statement, break, continue and pass. But for the time being, you have to know about break statement. So what is break? Break statement can be used to stop a loop. That's it. If you want to exit forcefully from the loop, then you can insert break keyword on some particular condition. Thus, you have to be very careful that a for loop else part runs only if no break occurs. If break occurs, it means the sequence are not gone up to the last element. It will break anywhere in the middle of the list. Then the else part will not execute it. And if the for loop move to the last element of the list, then else part will executed as well. Clear? So this is the syntax. It is very easy. And these are the two examples. In first example, all the elements of the sequence are successfully executed. Thus, else part will also execute. So 0, 1, 5 and no item left. All four value will be printed. But in example 2, I kept some condition. If I is equal to 1, then break. So it means it not gone for the last element 5. Thus, else part will also not executed. So it will print only what? 0 and 1. Clear? Now, there is a function which is broadly used in looping statement, that is range. We can generate a sequence of numbers using the range function. So, what this function will do? If I supplied only one value, that is 10, so it will generate numbers 0 to 9. Whatever the number is given, minus 1 up to. And it starts with 0. Because indexing starts with 0, you know. Okay? But the syntax is this. Range. In argument, there are 3 arguments where one argument is essential, that is stop, but the other optional arguments are start and step side. If you don't want to start with 0, then you have to give starting value. And if you don't want to move from step 1, then you have to give step size. Otherwise, the default value is 1. Clear? Again, the second important thing is the range function is not an iterator. That's why it supports in keyword len. With the help of len property, you can calculate the number of counts, okay, and double underscore get item, double underscore, it will give the item. Clear? Here is the example. You can clearly understand. In the first line, I have printed range 10. So it will print 0 to 10. So the range is what? From 0 to n minus 1. That is 10 minus 1. It will print 9 up to 9. That's why I am going to print list. Whatever the range will give the value, that will convert it into a list. So you all know that list will displayed as square bracket. Here you can see that, and all the elements are contained from 0 to 9. Now here I have given two things, two arguments. First one is 8. 8 is essential part, which is stop, and 2 is the starting, because it will insert it just before stop. So it will starting value. So it will not start with 0, it will start with 2 and go up to 8 minus 1, that is 7. Now I have providing all the 3 arguments, that is starting value, stop value, and incremented by 3, that is step size. So it will print from start 2, then after that there will be 3 step size, 3, 4, 5. So 5 will be printed, then 8, 11, 14, then 17. 20 will not be included because it will move on from where? Up to n minus 1. So 20 minus 1, that is 19. Clear? Here you can see the example. There is a list. Hi, hello, namaste. For I in range len of li. So whatever the length is 1, 2, 3, that is 3. So it moved from 0, 1, and 3 minus 1, that is 2. So li of 0, it will print hi. Li of 1, 1th position, hello will be printed. And li of position 2, namaste will be printed. So by doing this, you can use the range function. Clear? Now, the second option is while loop. The while loop in Python is used to iterate over a block of code as long as the test expression is true. That's it. This is same as any other language. Enter the while loop. In while loop, test condition will be checked first. If condition is true, then body of the while will be executed. Otherwise, exit. Okay, that's why it is known as pre-tested loop. If anybody asks what is pre-tested loop, it means he or she is asking about while loop. Okay. So this is the syntax. In the while loop, test expression is checked first. I already told you. The body of the loop is entered only if the test expression evaluates to true. After one iteration, the test expression is checked again, and this process continues till the test expression evaluates to false. So you have to supply the initial value just before the while loop, and in the body of the loop, there should be an increment or decrement operator so that this condition will be false at some point. Otherwise, this loop will go to the infinite step. So here, this is the example. I have to print 0 to 4. So what is to be done? A variable is to be taken. The value starts with 0. Until then, if count is lesser than 5, so it's okay. 0 is lesser than 5. While loop is true, it will go to the body of the loop, print count. So 0 will be printed. Now count is equal to count plus 1. Here I have used shorthand operator, or you can say that assignment operator. So it means count is equal to count plus 1. So count will be what? 1. 1 is lesser than 5? Yes. 1 will be printed, and so on up to 4. 2, 3, and 4. Now count is equal to count plus 1. Now value will be 5. 5 is lesser than 5? No, never. So condition is false, and it will comes out from the loop to the next line of the program. Clear? Again, just like for loop, there will be a functionality of else using while loop also. The method or the rule are the same. What they are? Else part will be executed only when if all the sequence of while loop will be executed without quitting forcefully. And if break will be applied in any part of the while loop, else part will never be counted. Okay, here I have written over. The while loop can be terminated with a break statement. In such cases, the else part is ignored. Okay. Now the nested loop, as you know that, nested if within if. Okay. So loop within loop. So Python programming language allows to use one loop inside another loop. The inner loop will be executed one time for each operation of the outer loop. These are the syntax for as well as for while. For this is outer loop, this is inner loop. Same here. This is outer while and this is inner while. This statement is the part of inner loop and this statement is the part of outer loop. Okay. So here I have taken the example to print a pyramid 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4 and used both the program with the help of for as well as with the help of while. So here you can see that there is nested loop for outer loop and this for is inner. So what is I am going to do? I in range 1 to 5. So it will go from 1 to 4, 5 minus 1. And this one, j in range I. So first of all, I is 1. So it will go from 0 to nothing. I minus 1 means 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. So it will execute firstly only one time. So it will print I. So 1 will be printed. That's okay. Now a space will be given. Now value will move to the 1. So it will not in the sequence. There is only one element. Okay. So it break down to the outer part. So I have written over here that is only print. So it will move the cursor to the next line. Now go to the where list is generated 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 is completed. Now 2 is given to the I. Clear? Now j in range, j will start from where? 0 to 2 minus 1, that is 0 and 1. So it will execute now 2 times and I is 2. So it will print 2 times 2. Again, this for loop is completed. Now print will be executed and new line cursor will go to the new line. Now I is 3 and this inner loop will go from 3 times for 0, for 1 and for 2 and it will print what? The value of I. The value of I is 3. So 3 times 3 will be printed. Again inner loop will is completed. Now I value is 4. So inner loop will executed 4 times and 4 will be printed 4 times. That's all. So this pyramid will printed like this. Okay. The same thing I have done with the help of while. But here you can see easily that there are some more lines is to be included. Why? Because you know that the initialization as well as increment or decrement is to be done separately. And with the while loop, there's only a test condition. So you can go through with this and execute, or you can go through these statement and dry run. You will see that the same output will printed. I'm not going to discuss what is happening here. You can use by yourself. So that's all for today. Today we learned about loops, that is for loop. For loop will only work with sequence or you can use range function. After that, there is a while loop, just like any other language, and then nested loop. loop within loop. In the next class, we will start some control statement that can be used in if else as well as in looping statement. They are break, continue, and pass. So thank you very much. See you in the next video.